Yo guys, what's going on? It's Ryuga here with another video, and this time we're going to be doing something slightly different. So usually we do for the win matches or try hard matches or killer tier lists that are what's the best killer, what's this. We're going to take a little break and we're going to do something that is more for fun. We're going to talk about which killers do we find the most fun, or do I find the most fun. Remember that this is going to be probably one of the most opinionated tier lists out of all of them that I make, because fun is completely objective and you can completely find something that I absolutely despise and think is inconsistent, and you could find it to be the most fun killer on the planet. So before you leave any negative comments, just remember it's a for fun. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. You find different things fun, and I'd like to hear what you have to say on what you have the most fun playing and why. Other than that, we are going to talk about the different tiers we created. We have the top, which is incredibly fun. These are killers that I have fun with every single time, no matter what. Their playstyle is just fitting for me, and there's usually never a match where I will just not be disappointed. Then we're going to be doing usually fun. These are killers where a lot of the time I find myself having much fun, but sometimes their power or the killer themselves can be put in situations where I start having a bad time, or it just becomes not as fun. Okay is the next one on the list. This one is slightly below usually fun, but usually I can have more of a bad time on the killers that I find just okay. These ones are just killers that I can play like once or twice, and then I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm kind of done with this killer. I had my one fun match, I don't want to keep playing them. That's usually what this spot is. It's like I'll have fun once playing them, and then I just want to move on. And next on the list, we're going to be doing would rather play something else. These are killers where if somebody asked me to play them, I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever, I can play them. I'm good at them. I can have fun, but I'd honestly rather just be playing a different killer. That's what this is reserved for. And then we have frustrating or inconsistent. These are killers that every time I play them, I'm just kind of like, I'd rather really, I just don't want to play them, pretty much. Their power is just frustrating or inconsistent, as implied by the title of it. And they're just not average fun. Usually I just don't have fun with them at all. So yeah, let's go ahead and start ranking. We're obviously going to start from bottom to top and see where we go from there. So the first one we are going to add, the frustrating or inconsistent, is going to be Pig. Pig for me is one of the most inconsistent killers in the game. So when I play her, I feel like I'm always hoping really bad that her traps don't get taken off first try. When they don't, I can have a very nice game with her. She can be very enjoyable. I can take my time with my chases. Other times, people get her traps off instantly, and I find myself having a very not fun game because I use my power, and my power gets removed almost instantly, and I'm sitting there just cursing under my breath because I'm like, why am I even playing this killer? Like, they don't even have a power. Like, sure, I could dash, but her head traps are really cool. It's a fun concept. But when somebody takes it off instantly, it's the most demeaning, frustrating, annoying thing as killer. It's like, Pig is so cool, but then when you use her power, you're like, fuck, man. This sucks. That's how I personally feel about Pig. Definitely one of my least fun killers to play. But she has her moments. She can't be completely unfun. It's just her inconsistencies make her, on average, less fun than all the other killers that I play. Alright. Next on the list, I'm going to be talking about Huntress. Now, Huntress for me might be because I'm just bad. And even when I, quote, am bad at a killer, I'm not really bad on average compared to most people. But Huntress requires an amount of dedication to her learning curve or her skill cap that you need to play her consistently, or else you're going to get very rusty. She's also one of those killers that if you have a crosshair, she becomes significantly easier, but I refuse to use something like that. So for her, sometimes she's really fun, like when you can hit snipes and all that, but maps can make her very frustrating as well, because if she gets like a map where I can't snipe, I get very angry, because I only play Huntress to snipe, and most of the time I get a map where sniping is pretty much impossible. So combine that with the fact that I'm really just not that good with her hatchets. I don't play her enough to be consistently good with her hatchets and be like, you know, high level, super top tier Huntress. I can be an okay Huntress, that's it. And to me, it's frustrating missing hatchets that I should hit just because I'm either impatient or I'm not as good at her. And that's what makes her frustrating for me to play. And this is a personal experience. Sometimes these things can also apply to Nurse, Billy, etc. Like attacks that are easy to miss and can be game changing if you miss. That's how I feel about Huntress, because I'm just not as good with her as I am with every other killer. Just makes it sometimes unbearable. The next killer on the list, and this is actually the final killer for this frustrating or inconsistent part, is going to be Plague. Plague, to me, is one of the most non-satisfying killers to date. She, like... Okay, her power completely relies on the survivors. Whether you get a bunch, whether you get a little. If the survivors are smart, they'll over-cleanse your fountains. You won't even get to use them all. Not only that, but she has a comparison to Legion, except her power, like, it takes too long to get it rolling. Like Legion, I can just go around, stab, 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 bang, and everybody's instantly injured. Plague is barf, 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 barf a little more, and then bang, somebody's injured. And you already wasted 30 seconds. Or you can hit somebody here, hit somebody there with Plague, and then eventually they'll be injured. But in my opinion, in this day and age, they should just instantly cleanse and delete your pressure. That's the best way. So her power is just very unfulfilling. And then the fact that her Corrupt Purge can be deleted with a pallet stun is just crazy. Like, you have a killer like Oni, who has an incredible speed and one-shot, and Plague doesn't. She just has this ranged red spit that hitbox is atrocious with, goes through survivors sometimes, and she gets knocked out of it with a single pallet stun. I think that's a little ridiculous, because it's so frustrating playing a killer where I have to walk through pallets, or sorry, I have to respect pallets, and the charge up for her vomit is so slow that by the time I actually charge it up after I'm forced to respect it, the survivor's already on the other side of like the jungle gym or whatever. It's really frustrating, like trying to use her power. Overall, very, very just not fun. Just not a fun experience. Her power is chaotic and too survivor reliant. I don't like that about her. So yeah, these are my 3 least favorite killers to play as. Pig, Huntress, and Plague. They're just, I don't know, not that fun. So the next one, we have I'd rather play something else. So these killers, you know, sometimes I can have fun on, but most of the time I'm thinking like, I'd rather just be playing fucking Legion, or like, I don't know, this killer's not that fun. Usually these are killers that I'll do for build requests, and I won't really ever play them on my own for somebody asking me to play the killer. So the first one we're going to put on the list is going to be Deathslinger. The reason Deathslinger is up here and not below with Huntress is because Deathslinger has a lot better accuracy and pinpoint accuracy, so it's not as frustrating as Huntress. But in my opinion, his power is just... I don't know how to word it. I just don't have fun. And I think the reason I don't have fun is because even though I go around and I'm a really good Deathslinger. I hit most of my shots in a match. But I hit most of my shots in a match, and I'm still somehow down to 1 gen, even though I have perfect accuracy. And to me, that is a little confusing, and it makes Deathslinger not fun to play. His power is like can be super fun. You can hit some clutch shots through like holes in the walls and shit. But when I think about him, I just don't think about wanting to play him. I'm like, oh, I gotta play Deathslinger. Okay, I guess. Because his power just feels like it just doesn't have any pressure on the map. Even if I hit, like I said, even if I hit every single shot, I feel like the gens are flying. That's just me. And I only feel that way with Deathslinger. He's just not there for me. Next one we're going to be talking about is Hillbilly. Hillbilly is, in my opinion, one of my not most boring, but his power is too like simplistic for me. You got a chainsaw and you run around the map, and then you raise your chainsaw and you hit him with it. Like, I don't know. That's just weird for me. I don't have fun. I think that his power is just, in general, boring. Gameplay-wise, he can make cool situations, but for the most part, when I'm thinking, if I want to play a chainsaw killer, I'd rather go play Leatherface. Like, Billy, to me, I know a lot of people find Billy's really fun to play, but even the curving, it's just like, it feels too meticulous for me to really enjoy. So that's why when I play him, I'm thinking about playing something else. Like, I rather just would rather just not play Billy at all. Next one on the list is going to be Nurse. For me, Nurse is extremely oppressive, and she can be, you know, very fun to play with if you're in a bad mood. But for the most part, I just rather be playing killers that take a little more input. I get it, Nurse, you have to play a lot. She's a very hard killer to play. But when you go into a team and you slaughter them in 5 seconds, I get it, you can choose not to, but why would you play Nurse and not play like that? It's just not that fun. I'd rather go play a killer where I can spend more time in the match or do something else with my time. Like Nurse, she's just not my playstyle. And she also comes down to the frustrating, but not frustrating enough that I would put her in the bottom list. When you start missing blinks, it gets extremely frustrating, especially like blinks you know you should be hitting, or if like it's laggy, she could just be like a pain to play. So once again, another killer that I would just rather play something else instead of Nurse. Alright, Myers is going to be the final one on this list. Myers, in my opinion, has one of the most unique, cool powers in the game. I think his power fits his lore more than anybody else. But his beginning game and mid game is just kind of not that fun. Like, I'd rather be playing Ghostface because Myers' stock takes so long. And sometimes the stock bar is extremely buggy. I don't know. The beginning of the game also super frustrating trying to get out of tier 1. Also, people can use Spine Chill when you're an undetectable killer and like run away from you when you're just trying to get out of your tier 1. That shit's like ridiculous. I don't know. Like, when I think about all those things, I start thinking about the fact that I would just rather go play something else. Don't get me wrong, his tier 3 can be super fun. It can have super fun scenarios, but for the most part, when I'm playing Myers, just the build-up is so lackluster for me. I don't know. I just don't like it that much. Let's go ahead and talk about the mid-tier, or just the okay killers. We're going to go ahead and throw our boy Clown up there. Now, Clown is a killer that I like playing every now and then. There's just something about tossing bottles and his weapon wiping animation that makes him a little fun for me to play. I can't play him a lot because his power obviously is underwhelming. It's not that great. If survivors just throw pallets, they counter you. But for the most part, playing a killer that has like a cool weapon wipe animation, has a nice little laugh, you know, I like playing him every now and then. That's why he's just okay for me. And he's not necessarily completely weak. You know, if you hit your bottles, you can counter a lot of loops. He's just okay. I play him for 1 or 2 games, and then, you know, I'd rather just go play something else. But for the most part, pretty cool killer, pretty cool weapon animation, and it makes me enjoy him quite a bit. Next one on the list is the Twins. I was thinking about putting Twins lower, but I have this this thing where Twins is pretty much my swift crippling machine. So the thing that makes her satisfying for the most part is when I play against the Swift that act like, you know, they're pretty hot. And the reason I say this is because she is the most slug heavy, easy to 4-man killer out there. If you know how to play her. Once she injures everybody, she just downs people, slugs them, puts Victor on them, camps their body. Whenever somebody else comes by, you switch to Victor, you down them too, and you camp both of them. It's like one of the most satisfying thing to do against players that are either like being cocky or a team that's like getting in your face, because she just has the most slug potential and the ability to just ruin their day. On the other hand, if you want to play like a nice killer, her power is very annoying because you can get downs fast, but that's just not the way her power is like optimally used, because it's more optimally used slugging. And when you're spending time not slugging, it just feels wrong. The playstyle just doesn't feel right. So that's why I put her in the okay category. I can play her for a little bit. I'll have fun slugging the whole team at like 4 or 5 gens. And then after that, I'm like, cool, let's go play something else. Like, you know, the first 1, 2, 3 games, fun. After that, yeah, that's why she's okay for me. So I think that is a satisfying spot. Nothing else to say. Next one I want to put up here is Oni. I was debating on actually moving Oni higher, but now that I think about it, Oni's power can be a little bit frustrating for me. If people don't let you get hits or they're not bots at the beginning, his beginning game can almost be as frustrating as Myers. And then depending on the map, sometimes his Demon Dash strike can be really hard to hit. So I prefer to play him a little bit, but if I start playing him too long, I know the frustration will get to me. But something about playing a big, massive fucking demon with a giant, like, fucking bopping weapon is just really fun. So I'll play him for a few games, and after that, I'll move on. But he's just okay. Being able to track survivors' blood, that's pretty cool too. But for the most part, being in his power can lead to frustrating moments. But at the same time, it's also really fun. So that's why he's okay. He's not any higher, because his fun isn't on average higher than the other killers. Like, if I were to play him a bunch, it's just 1 or 2 matches. I'm like, yeah, this is great. And then that's it. Now we're going to do Ghostface. Ghostface is up here instead of down there with Myers, because he's what I like about Myers without the frustration of building early game. If you lean from a corner, you can expose people in about 4 seconds. To me, that's just fun. I enjoy playing him every now and then, especially with recovery add-ons. And he just has a satisfying stalk and a satisfying stealth ability, while also being a simple M1 killer. So I can play him a few times, have my fun, and then I'll go on to play other killers after I have my fun with him. But if you play him for long periods of time, he will start being very, very annoying, because you start to realize the fundamental flaws in his power. So that's why he's just okay, because he starts being very frustrating. But for the most part, as long as you only play like 1 or 2 games with him, you'll enjoy, usually. I think his power is just like, it's just the right amount of stealth and fun. Next on the list, we are going to put Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head is just weird for me. He's almost in a spot that he would be incredibly fun, or usually fun, but his Punishment of the Damned is so unsatisfying because it's completely telegraphed, so a very good player can dodge it very easily. But if you hit somebody with it, I feel unrewarded. Now, you can question me and be like, how is it unrewarding? You hit the survivor. Well, Pyramid Head has another power, his Cages of Torment and his Trails. It is almost impossible to get survivors to run through your fucking Trail of Torment. They will do everything in their power to avoid it, even if it means they die. And to me, that's not fun. I want to use his power. I want to be able to use his cages willy-nilly without worrying about it being the only cage I use all fucking game. I just wish Punishment of the Damned would apply Torment. That way his Punishment of the Damned was more rewarding to use. I would use it more. I would stop having to feather through pallets because I would be using my power much more. That would boost his fun level tremendously for me. But because there is a big lack of using his power, his cage power, in a way that's good, because most of the time it's more beneficial to just fucking yeet him on a hook. I don't know, I'd rather just play him a few times and move on. His power is just not satisfying enough to hang on to. And it's the cages that are the most frustrating part. That's why he's just okay. Alright, next on the list is Spirit. Now, Spirit is just okay. You can phase, you can hit survivors. Pretty easy. There's not a lot to her power, and I don't know. I'll play her every now and then. She can be fun for a little bit, and then I'll just move on. She's not... It just doesn't have it for me. Powerful, but to me, just not that fun comparatively to the killers I'm going to put above them. Nothing else to really say about her. Alright. Usually fun. Doctor. I think Doctor's base kit is really fun. You can just shock survivors, put them into madness, waste their time. You get to do cool shit blocking pallet drops. You could do things like Dre Tech at Shack. If you're a very good Doctor, you could shut down almost any loop. And being able to use Static Blast, I don't know, it's just... It's just super fun. The things that can be frustrating with him are when ping is a factor or latency, when you get shocks you think should have hit and they scream, but they throw the pallets anyways. That's why he's not incredibly fun, because he does have his moments where he can be super annoying. But for the most part, very fun to just go shock people, deny pallets. You can also deny items if you get them into -3. And it's just a great time playing him. Cool. So next on the list is Legion. Legion can almost be compared to Doctor in the term of being able to find everybody very fast. That's one thing I like about Legion, because once you find somebody, you can find the entire team. And that just takes a load off of trying to locate where everybody else is on the map. Using his power to injure people is also one of the most satisfying things in this game, because it eliminates the thing of having to injure everybody one by one by one by one. You just injure. And it's just pretty fun. He can be frustrating when you have teams that start instantly throwing every pallet, playing super safe. Usually you can win in the end game, but teams like that make Legion's power a bit more unfulfilling. That's why he's at usually fun, but for the most part, I have a lot of fun using his power, and there are very few times where I am not having that much fun. And I really wish they would fix the lunge bug that he has, but otherwise, consistently fun. I could play him a bunch. We're going to talk about Demogorgon being usually fun. He has a very, very unique power set. He has these portals, he has his shred, he has his portal detections. Like, overall, his power is very unique, and I love my playstyle of protecting gens while Corrupt is up with my portals, and then ramping up Save the Best for last. And then after that, once we start downing people, we hook them, and then we can teleport from gen to gen to gen, pop the gen, down somebody else, hook them, teleport to another gen, pop that one, just repeat. In my opinion, he just has a very fun playstyle. Definitely one of my preferred killers. I would recommend playing him and picking up that fun playstyle. To me, he's just super fun to play. Now, there are moments where he can get frustrating if teams start breaking your portals a little too fast, to where they're like on different sides of the map, so you can't reset them easily. That's when he starts becoming frustrating, because then you feel like you're powerless because you can't get back to that side of the map. And overall, that's the only thing that I find frustrating about him. His anti-loop is great. His detection is great. Overall, cool killer. Next on the list is going to be Trapper. Trapper is usually fun because I like the meticulous setting up of traps around the map, especially because I set them in such advanced spots when I'm thinking in the mind of a very good survivor that they will almost always step in it. So for example, I put them in front of lockers in the grass at jungle gyms because they hug the loops. I put them in the grass around junk tiles because, again, survivors hug the loops, so always step in them. I have my favorite trap spots on certain maps. Overall, he can be a usually fun killer. The only times where he's not fun is if somebody spots me at the beginning of the match and they start, harassing me so I can't set down traps. That's when it starts being annoying. But otherwise, Trapper is usually fun and very satisfying when your traps work on survivors. Definitely a pretty fulfilling killer. Now, with that being said, we're also going to put Hag almost for the exact same reason. Incredibly fun, incredibly strong. There's just something about being all over the map at the same time. Hitting survivor here, teleporting somewhere, hitting a different survivor. Especially with Save the Best for last, it can feel like you're going light speed chasing 3 different survivors at the same time from different areas of the map. Satisfying power, but she can be countered if there is a very good team who bullies you as you set your traps around to where you pretty much can't get any use. Or if you have flashlight people following you around. But you don't have that happen very often, which is why I say she's just usually fun. The last one we're going to put in usually fun is Wraith. Now, I used to be a Wraith main before Legion, and his power is very simplistic. You have a cloak, go up to survivors, uncloak, hopefully get a hit, but at least you close the distance. And that's what's fun about him. Something just about his bing-bonging, being invisible, getting relatively close to survivors. It's just satisfying. The only thing that can make him not fun is running into a bunch of spine chills or open area gens where they can see you coming easily. But that'll be fixed with his invisibility buff. Won't fix spine chill, but it'll fix at least seeing from long distances. So overall, he's a pretty cool killer. Super simplistic power, but I think that it's a fun one. Bing bong, bing bong. And now we're going to go to my favorite killers in the entire game. Let's go ahead and go. So up there is Freddy. Freddy has a huge base kit. Very powerful killer. He has different playstyles such as Dream Pallets, Dream Snares. His versatility is super fun. I love using Dream Pallets personally because setting them up and just watching survivors hope leave their eyes as like half of the pallets they touch are fake. It's so fun. I almost always have fun playing Freddy. And then you also have his weapon wiping animation. Mwah. It's so perfect. I love running Save the Best for Last on him. Something about his scratchy claws over and over again. I don't know, man. He's super fun. I have no complaints when playing Freddy. Incredibly strong. Huge map mobility. Great anti-loop with like either snares or pallets. I will always have fun playing this killer. Yeah. Next, I'm going to put Leatherface up there. After his rework, I think Leatherface is just fun. Something about having a chainsaw that can go around an entire loop and cutting off windows with bamboozle just makes me feel nice. I just feel like I'm playing fucking Bubba from the movies. I feel like, you know, a powerful bitch with a chainsaw. It's just something satisfying about him. I don't know what it is. He's just oppressive at loops. He can go really far. I don't know. He's just fun to me. Like, especially if you run Chili, you can go so far with his chainsaw. It's like Billy without the hassle. And to me, that's so fun. He eats pallets like they're candy, and if you don't throw pallets, you just die. So, I don't know. Super fun killer. I love playing him. And I don't really have any downsides that I don't like about his power. Overall fun. The final killer is going to be the Blight. Blight has to have one of the most fun powers in this game. Just bouncing across the map, slamming your head on things, hitting survivors at absurd angles is really fun. I pride myself in being like an incredibly good Blight player. If you haven't seen my Blight gameplay, I would go check it out. It's very satisfying to get these hits, especially with double speed. He can go so fast. The things that can make him frustrating are hitboxes on the map in terms of the object hitboxes. But for the most part, he's just so fun. So fun. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. He's just so fucking fun. Bouncing off of everything. His anti-loop, breaking pallets with your power. Like, most fun killer in the game, in my opinion, by far, is 100% Blight, comparatively to all the killers. And yeah, that's all I got to say about the killers. Just remember, this is completely subjective. Unlike my other tier lists where I have, you know, actually hours in the killers, and we're talking about their actual value in terms of them versus good teams, this is just fun. You're allowed to think anything is fun for a variety of different reasons. You could think Myers is S tier because he has Tombstone, right? It's all up to you. Let me know what you guys enjoy down in the comments. What are your favorite killers? If you want to know more about certain killers and why I dislike them, feel free to ask me. I'll try to answer, as I usually do, most comments that people leave. And remember, if you enjoy this content and you want to talk to me on Twitch while I'm live, feel free to follow me over on Twitch. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, night, evening, morning, whatever time it is, wherever you guys live. And I'll see you guys in the fog. Peace. Thanks for watching.